All right, I'd like to call a board meeting to order. Will we stand for the pledge of allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. I'll look for a motion to approve today's agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve today's agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Make a motion to approve minutes from August 5th.
Thank you.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meetings attended, Scott?
I didn't have any meetings per se, but the transfer station broke down, the scale broke down last week, and they had a couple of load cells out of it. I stopped out and talked to the guy a little bit, so we're gonna have to do some more work. Had to cut some bolts out of the deck plates to get to them, and then,
Still down?
no, he got fixed that
Fixed,
day.
okay.
And then I finally did get the third bid from Ripe Oil on the tank, so next week we'll have 3 bids we can look at
Great.
and go over,
Oh, good.
so.
Awesome.
That was, oh, and then Tracy brought the mower out and I helped him with some changing oil and blades and stuff on that, stuff at the shop, so.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll save this $500 at a
Yeah, we
repair shop.
end up having to get a new, just a spindle for it, but it wasn't too bad.
Good. Kevin?
No formal meetings attended, had a lot of correspondence online. A lot to do with solar farms.
I kind of had the same thing. I got a lot of things going on in the background, but nothing really to report right now. We do have a public health meeting tonight, so I'll have to attend that.
We have a P and Z meeting tonight, and
That's the one on the zoning for the solar.
Yeah.
I think that one's gonna be well attended from what I understand. A lot of for and some against.
yeah,
Should be interesting. Try to keep order and not let any fist fights erupt.
Where is that at? Is that the courthouse?
it's up in the courtroom.
Okay, we'll move right along to number 5, public input. Anybody from the public have anything they wanna address?
Have you got any, you gonna move forward on selling the jail, or what are you gonna do there?
Yeah, we got a public hearing next meeting, the 19th? I think it's the 19th.
Think so.
Yeah, we have a public hearing and then the process.
Sure.
Anybody else? No? Payroll changes, we had one, looks like we got a new dispatcher. We had one leave and just replaced that one. Going there, we got an ambulance. Review, monthly expenditures. I reviewed those and those look to be in order. You guys saw those online?
Yes.
Yeah.
Item number 8 is the liquor license for the Heritage Oaks. So apparently there was a problem with that, back in January of 25, which was this spring, they had an issue where it was, checkmarked as nonprofit and it was actually for profit. So they had to go to Class C. So I need a motion to approve their Class C alcohol tobacco permit.
I'll make a motion to approve the Heritage Oaks Class C license.
Good.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion approved. And then we have one for the Thirsty Camel. Looks like Class C. I don't see anything that's out of line.
I'll make a motion to approve liquor license for Thirsty Camel.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Adam's not here yet. What's that?
Go to Brandon's under 12.
Okay, Brandon,
I just want to do the same trunk or treat, exactly the same as last year. So I've asked the city to close down 4 roads. And we could use the courthouse and get a porta potty or just have the inside open, just like last year for a couple hours.
4 roads? 1, 2, 3, you're gonna close down the highway?
Yeah.
Okay.
You did last year, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We use the high school parking lot as curb park and so everybody can safely cross there.
I'll make a motion to approve the use of the courthouse for trunk or treat on Saturday, November 1st, 5:30 to 7.
Once again,
Any further discussion? Always seems to do very well in town.
Definitely.
Let's hope for good weather. November 1st.
It's iffy.
I don't know how good it's gonna be, but
There's no Iowa game.
Yeah,
It's the
no
day
rain,
after
no
Halloween,
snow.
so we'll still have the costume.
yeah. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
uh,
Motion carries. Okay, let's go to 13, our solar ordinance again. This sounds like a broken record. I know it does, I'm sorry. We approved the 3rd reading, but apparently there was a number, yeah. Then section 150.3, was there a decimal point wrong or
No,
something?
it had in there like section 19.
Yeah, so
point
the
something.
section number was wrong in this whole thing, we had a number wrong. But it wasn't right, and we have to make it right so that we can move. If somebody wants to read it, they have to go to the correct section, so. What I would recommend is go ahead and approve this with the section 150.3 revision and waive the 2nd and 3rd reading. Other than the number, nothing's changed. We don't have to go through this over and over and over. So I'd look for a motion.
I'll make that motion to amend the proposed ordinance and waive the 2nd and 3rd reading.
and I'll second.
Motion 2nd, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Sign the back.
I'm literally just gonna sign the whole, actually, all 3 of us. It's official.
And you need to sign this letter saying you didn't sign it for the claims.
Oh. You're right, sorry.
That's fine.
You want these guys to sign it too?
Just you, there's 3 of them here.
I thought I printed the other ones.
You signed the back, but you need to sign the front of the claim before.
Oh,
you
yeah.
can sign.
Skip.
Yep.
Yep.
You signed 3.
And then
Thank
I'm
you.
out.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure Liz, she'll tell me.
You will too, I know. Item number 14 is Paul wants to talk to us about updating the Whites County handbook.
So we've got a handful of changes. Hope you've had a chance to review it. Driven partially with the Iowa law change. Previous to that change, I think there were 117 genders. And now we're down to 2. So the policies relating to equal anything with a protected class, so sexual harassment, and then the EEO policy would remove gender identity now that it's no longer protected in Iowa. Then a handful of other changes throughout, clarifying, cleaning up some language. So I think on the copy you have shows those changes. I don't think there's anything substantial.
The AI, put in some verbiage about using usage of the AI.
Find that on my. I don't know how many of you use this artificial intelligence stuff. Had lots of had a lot of conversations with the department head team about, how people use it. I know some employees in the county use it. So it can be as simple as someone who doesn't think they're the greatest writer but they have an important email to send. We'll put it in there and Chat GPT or whatever you might use would clean it up a bit. But some of the question, I think it was public health that brought it up to say, we've got to be careful about what we input into it. So just language to say, used in accordance with the policies, sensitive or confidential information. To be careful of what you put into it, use it ethically, nothing used for malicious, discriminatory, or unlawful purposes. To make sure that we're not entering specific, HIPAA information or anything that would cause any undue harm. But I think for the most part, it's been reviewed, written by the department head team. As a team, we've updated, amended it. And then back to the board for review and consideration.
Final time, I guess.
No. Yeah, I don't care for AI because it'll just change things on you.
And it's not, I mean, we've had conversations that way too about it's not always accurate.
Yeah.
And that I shared an example when I was getting different information about whether county government has to do OSHA related trainings. So forever, my private sector clients would have to do right to know, those different OSHA required trainings. Talking to work comp, like counties can, but they don't have to. Like, I'm like, I'll try this AI for the first time. Like, is it required? It's like, yes, it's required by law. I'm like, what's the statute number? And it fought for a bit. It's like, okay, it's not required by law, but it's recommended. I think it even apologized. So I'm like, okay, so you just gotta be careful that you might want to follow up.
I make a motion to approve the updated Louisa County handbook.
No, second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Let's just keep rolling with Paul there. You got another thing, meal reimbursement policy.
That Kurt's got that.
It involved Paul as well, though. For you, sir. Paul, I've already sent you all this.
Yep.
So the first page is a one pager that actually Chat GPT helped me write. It's good at formatting, so. The issue is that, for travel that utilizes the Iowa Trust Fund, the Veteran Trust Fund, in the Iowa Code, Chapter 7, it states, and they're under key issues 1. The last part of that is, I think I highlighted it for you guys in the second page, the actual code. It says that I have to follow the department guidance, and that department is the Department of Veteran Affairs. The Department of Veteran Affairs follows state guidance, right? So I don't have any option. This all started because, honestly, it started because we got some really crappy training on the change at Springer Falls School from the state. Nathan Anderson, I think was the name that I dug up with prior to the training. It was a discussion. We didn't get any of the forms that we were gonna have to use because they were still being made and whatnot. Finally, that's there. This policy is, okay, there's a little bit over there and there's a little bit over here, not. So I was pretty poorly informed and educated on it. I think I'm better informed and educated on it now. The issue is, when I brought this up, no, you're a county employee, you have to follow a county handbook for travel. Problem is, this verbiage is in here, no, you gotta follow the state guidance because it's the state money. The issue is, out of state travel. The state policy is that they don't require receipts for meals, which is different than us. And the reimbursement rate is different because they follow the GSA, which is the Government Services Administration thing, it's kind of sort of. And each city is rated by the cost of living. So for instance, I was in Louisville last couple weeks ago. Meal rate is $80 a day, not 57, I think is what ours is for the day. So if I follow ours and I spend 57 a day, state still reimburses the county the full 80, except for the first and last day of travel. Or if the function provides a meal, or if the hotel provides a meal. Where does that other 20, in this instance, $23 go? Does it go to the county? Does it go to me? And I argue, I get caught in more than $57 a day to eat. It should go to me. So I think, and I don't know how other offices deal with any out-of-state travel, if they have any mandated thing like this. I think I might be the one off with accountant that has to follow this code. You know,
No, and I've talked to, so when this came up, the question comes in is, which policy does he follow? So my understanding is, and I talked to an individual who told me that she helped create this law, that she was part of that lobbying group that tried to get it in place. And what she told me was, across the state, there are several counties whose VA commission doesn't reimburse at all.
yeah, pretty crappy. So like $30 a day and for food, and like $100 a day for lodging.
And what she said is because of that, and what she said is they don't pay it at all. And so then those VSOs weren't going to training at all. And so what she told me was the intent of that legislation was to say, let's create a pot of money that would allow those employees that don't go at all to have some sort of a budget to go to training. And so I think what they came up with is a $3,000 per county that you can use for these training opportunities. It can be for hotels or the conference fees and or meals. So the question came up is, which does he follow? So from my perspective, my hope would be is follow the same policy that every other county employee follows as it relates to meal reimbursement. That I think, if his training exceeds $3,000 a year, I mean, there's nothing I don't think that forces him to tap into that. But it could be, hey, use your hotel expenses, everything else under that 3,000, and then meals just submit under normal county process. So we wouldn't have to go through a different, program. Or if you only spent $50, then the argument would be as well, why would you take another 30? Some taxpayers paying for that. It's not necessarily helping veterans. So I think there would be a way to come up with it that you can still access that money and still follow the county plan as it relates to meal reimbursement. And I think the county requires receipts. I would say we'd still want to do that as well. So that's the question is, if and when he taps into that money, does he follow the state plan or the county? And they're different. I think the state plan, there are arguments that it isn't as good as the county's.
It isn't what, sorry?
Isn't as good, because I think it's the travel day 2 and 4. It's only like 75% of it. So there are cases, I think, that the state reimbursement would be lower than the county. So my hope is we just say, stick to what we've got, follow the same procedures every other county office and department holds. Make sure you're turning in physical receipts. And we still can access that funding.
Yeah, receipts would be important. That way we get audited, we have
And I do the receipts to the county.
records of,
You give us screenshots
Yeah.
of your phone, not actual receipt.
Those are screenshots from my credit card.
Right, but it doesn't tell what you bought or anything like that, to make sure it's not
So if
like,
I go to Jimmy John's and there's a receipt for $18, it's clearly Jimmy John's.
right, but take into consideration, if you go out for supper, it's the same thing. We need to make sure you're not charging alcohol or something like everyone else, if they go to Jimmy John's.
I
they get a
understand.
receipt.
And I gave receipts for most of the meals. And I didn't have receipts for some of them, and that's what I gave. Okay.
But just for that clarification, that's required, that moving forward, I would say we'd want that detailed receipt, whether it's Jimmy John's or McDonald's, they'll all give you a receipt, as opposed to just a total on the credit card. That would be a requirement for all offices and departments.
I argue that county dollars is not adequate. You go to Louisville, you go to DC, you go to Reno. it doesn't cost the same to eat there as it does in Iowa. I think we can all agree on that. So to say, well, you need to follow the county policy. And clearly, the state law says I am not to follow the county policy. I am to follow the state policy. So are we not violating Iowa code if I follow the county policy for reimbursement on some things?
Yeah, and I don't know, my understanding is that's not what the code, I don't know that the code can require. It would be odd to me because you're an employee of the commission, I would say to me, you're treated just like public health, conservation board. Those are boards where this board of supervisors elects who serves on those committees, those commissions. And they all have adopted the county handbook. So to me, you're in that same boat that you're not a state employee. And that you wouldn't be required. I can't even imagine that the state of Iowa would require employees that are not state employees to follow any code section related to employment.
7.2, subparagraph 6. Any cost of initial training, accreditation, or continuing training that uses state funds shall follow the department travel policy. Department travel policy overrides county-specific travel policies.
Well, I think, isn't it possible for you to use those funds allotted by the state and still follow our meal reimbursement?
So you're asking me to stay at the county dollars for lodging, stay at the county dollars for food, and go to these places that cost more than it does in Iowa. I just want to be clear what you're asking me to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's the same for any county employee that would ever go to training outside of the state, is they're all asked to follow that same policy. So that's what I'm saying is,
But they
yeah,
don't get state allocated funds. And there is no code that tells them what to do.
Do we have any other employees that get trained outside the state?
I'm sure it's possible. I don't know that it's common. I mean, engineer, do you have?
I have some, or I can go to some outside training. There's one in St. Joseph and the National County Engineers thing. I haven't been to them. This one, our schedule, but
Sure, fine.
we did open this one down in the storm. We go out to
We could put something in there.
Ohio, Illinois, out to Omaha.
Put something in there about China State first. What's used on the 3,000. He follows the state, and anything over that 3,000 has to be,
Yeah, I think.
but we still need receipts.
I think we might, yeah, I think we might have to update a little bit. Oh, I don't wanna override you, I just. think that
No, yeah.
If it's within the state's one thing, but I kinda agree with him. If it's outside the state, you're right. A burger here isn't the same price as in DC.
And I have some counties that don't set a limit. They don't have a dollar amount. They just say be reasonable. I've had that work in some counties, some not. So as far as the policy, yeah, and I mean, it could open the door to say, let's just revisit that whole thing.
I think maybe we should, and I think if they're traveling out of state for training or whatnot, it shouldn't be a burden on that employee to have to pick up whatever's left over, within reason. I mean,
Right.
Lobster and surf and turf and whatever, we don't want a $300 meal bill. That would be unreasonable, and maybe we need to put something in there that keeps it within check.
And you can't even, again, I have some that, just do a per diem and no receipts required. So some counties just say, now the auditors, the state auditors, and our auditor doesn't.
Yeah, she's gonna flip out. on
Yeah,
that.
so I have some that just say, hey, if you're gone for 3 days, you get $100 a day. We're gonna cut you a check for $300 before you leave, and we don't care what you do with it. Others say, well, we gotta have receipts to make sure that there's no alcohol on it. Some counties will allow a tip, others don't. Some counties get into the detail of you have to submit your, whatever you're going to find out if a meal's included. And if they're gonna cut that out. Some are just like, you know what, you're doing this on our behalf. We trust our employees. We're not looking at that. I would say, having gone to ISAC a number of times, I'm certain our elected officials and department heads will join a group, not use the meal provided, but go somewhere else and they learn a ton just from that.
But how does that work though? Cause that happened for us. There was a meal provided. But there was also an opportunity to go somewhere else. So the policy says, well, if the meal's provided, you're not getting paid for that meal.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. It just depends on, in my opinion, there is an administrative cost to have to look through all that. I mean, are we gonna ask the auditor's office to say, submit your agenda for the day, and if it says there's a meal included, we don't give you anything? There is no right answer. I mean, I don't know that I have any counties that do like the GSA. There are that say, whatever that state total is, where you're traveling, that'll be the number.
Well, and on Friday, I met with, with Taylor Collins and Lofgren for something else. And, Mike Mortensen, Patty, Hammond, who are leaders of our association were there. This got brought up as well. And, they do. And they also, well, the next part didn't matter, but
Yeah, so you can, I mean, we could revisit it as a whole.
I think that the whole key here is receipt reimbursement. Whether or not he eats at a event that's paid for or not, if there's a receipt, he's got an expenditure, then that would be covered up to whatever amount we feel is reasonable and prudent.
So that can be the one step, is let's revisit it, make sure those numbers reflect current prices. Then the second one would still be, let's say we changed ours from 56 to 80. The question still would be, is if he's in a state that's above 80, do you have something? I'm not aware of any other department or office that would face this. Would you have a carve out there to say, if reimbursed by state funds? You know what I'm saying? So even if we moved it to 80, that doesn't necessarily address it.
I get it.
for ease, I think you'd go ahead and follow the state suggests and is to do the GSA. Because all that work is already there. What state are you in? Okay, here's the drop down of all the cities and the rates that those cities get.
It'll change every year.
It changes every year. Well, they revisit it every year and it's up for
Whether or not-
and it could drop, probably not, but it's based off, it's the same thing that I did when I was in the Army. Is it's the federal GSA that says for all government travelers, here's what per diem is for lodging in this city, country even, and here's what your meal rate is. So the work's already been done. Why should we do
That
it?
would make it clear. It would be, I'm thinking administratively,
Then we have to change our allotment every different state you go to.
every city.
It would, I think we just say, for this $3,000, follow for your national CEUs, follow the state policy that says follow GSA.
Depends.
That's for you.
That's another
That's
department.
just for me.
Yeah, that department's different, his department's different. So what I would like to try to figure out some way to make it simple, so it's countywide.
I'm gonna say, oh, yeah, the roads, whatever works for him, it doesn't have to be the same policy for him.
I'm trying to make it simple for her department to be able to not have essentially 6 different rules for 6 different departments, trying to keep it somewhat streamlined here, so it's not so convoluted that we can't.
And this is only for me, it's only the 3K training. The rest of the stuff I still have to follow.
And I don't think it's unreasonable to look at the other departments too. Maybe they need to be updated. I don't know.
When we travel to Ames or Des Moines,
Right,
it's a
whatever.
lot more expensive than traveling.
Let's pull up that policy and.
You guys
You
are,
all have it in front
the
of you.
county is more, our county is more gracious in meals
In there.
than a
Okay.
lot of other counties. Muscatine, I think, is $37 a day. So,
And you guys, I think it's 50 here, I think.
is it 50 or 50? 57 is stuck in my head. I don't.
It says 50 here in the book.
Okay, 50, okay. But still, that's a whole nother meal that, they're over here.
What sections are on?
Page 12.
Sorry.
You most certainly don't have to leave Iowa spending all the
For the
money.
Well,
auditor,
yeah.
when the auditors
And
audit,
for
they
breakfast.
need the receipt.
McDonald's, maybe.
Breakfast is McDonald's, if you get like
That's
the
10
egg muffin
bucks.
meal just the coffee and
Yeah.
the hash brown, it's $12,
Yeah,
I think.
lunch is 15 and dinner's 25.
I think in the state 50 is probably sufficient.
And gratuity is included.
And gratuities included, but you don't have to tip.
I think 50 is pretty tight.
Yeah, in today's age, yeah, I don't know when this was last updated, but a daily rate of $50, that's pretty. It's pretty tight. I think anybody go to a nice restaurant in Des Moines and spend $50 on themselves just for supper,
Yeah.
you know?
We have a tradition that we have dinner at Texas Roadhouse, the night that the commission training is done and the night before my training starts, to kind of have a social gathering and talk about what they learned and what I'm gonna learn. And that's usually over that.
I don't know where to go though. No.
No. I don't think it's a decision we can make on the spot right now. I think it's
Well, it is on their discussion.
I mean, as far as adjusting.
Or
Yeah.
if action, I don't know if we take action, but we
Right.
can. Right. Let's, Paul, would you kind of
Yep.
work on that section a little bit?
I mean, what's the reasonable? I mean, $75 a day? Is that? It's 60? I mean, I can adjust it multiple different ways. I'm just trying to come up with something that works for the board. That's appropriate,
I
right?
would say at least adding 5, 5, and 10.
Okay,
I don't know what anybody else thinks, but
And then something about adding
Yeah.
the out of town.
Breakfast to 15, lunch. I went to
Or out of state.
25,
25,
burgers $16 now and a drink,
Make it $100.
double it. Dinner, what was you gonna say, dinner too?
well, I was just adding.
You said
Taking
10.
it up for 35 or 40. then. I don't know, you can't. Depends on where you go.
So the,
The only thing I
If I train in Burlington, I'll go to Martini's, I'd have to.
The only thing,
But no,
the only thing to say, you're gonna have to feed yourself at home too. I mean, so it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, but they allow it because you're not at your,
right.
you're somewhere else.
Yeah.
so the state allows you $80 a day, right?
In Louisville
In
and in
Louisville.
Reno,
Okay, so
but if I go to
that's,
DC, it's gonna be different.
so what's the state say in Iowa then? Is it 80?
I'd have to look it up. It's by city. So
If you took breakfast to 15, lunch to
I can look that up if
25,
you'd like.
and
Yeah.
dinner to
Look
60,
it up for Des Moines.
which is supposed to include gratuity,
Yeah.
that would be 100.
yes, that's.
And then just put something in there about out of state travel, for veteran affairs has to follow the state regulations, but still supply receipt.
Yeah.
I think that
Still
sounds
needs receipts.
reasonable.
Yeah, just from, yeah, I mean, again, it doesn't matter to me, but I'm thinking for you, it's like, okay, then Kurt would follow two different rules. So if he goes to Reno 1 week, spends the $3,000, well, now he's not tapping into that money. So now the rules, he would follow the county policy then. So it could be out of state up until you reach the 3,000. Again, you'd have, my thought would be is it would be great in theory to have everybody follow the same thing. So even if we had that one caveat for Kurt, once that $3,000 is up, then he follows the old one. It would be it's more of an administrative thing. If that was more difficult.
The state, except for the exception of Dallas. I don't know where Dallas is, and Des Moines. 68 statewide, 80 in those two locations, with a breakdown of 16, 19, and 28, or 20, 22, and 33. One thing that is included is what they say MI&E, miscellaneous incidentals. And that can be your tip, that can be, oh crap, I gotta go wash underwear. So here's $2 for quarters. It's just miscellaneous incidentals
So it's $68 a day.
in the statewide, except for Des Moines and Dallas.
And Des Moines $80.
Des Moines is $80.
But if we went to 100 on this, would we need to make an exception?
That's what I'm thinking could be the answer, is if you came up to 100, I mean, does that open up the door that we capture most of those? That would have covered you in that
Yeah,
exact.
I can't imagine that another city is more than $100.
So you can do that,
Well, that's.
eliminates that.
That streamlines everything.
Streams like, you can still have the power to say, look, we don't expect you to go to, you know, what is it, the 901 grand or whatever that
Yeah.
is. If we see something that.
State one. I
Yeah.
mean,
Is
it's
it
still
81?
at 60, doesn't mean.
Right, at least it's that much, doesn't mean they have to spend that.
Splash.
And definitely, I think verbiage in there that says, use your discretion.
Yeah.
Or reasonable, or whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be a one size fits all issue. The rest is this, not an issue.
I'm okay with that. What do you think?
Well, I got a question. If you're going to Des Moines and you're gonna be back in one day, you don't get your $100. It's based on how far you go,
Correct.
how many nights you stay.
Yep.
And then the guy gives a credit card, then he gets, it goes on his personal stuff that he gets reimbursed. Is that how it is? You
For
bring
sing-
back a receipt. and see that.
Right, for same day travel, it has to go through payroll.
Depends on the time you leave.
Yep.
If you leave basically before breakfast, before
6 a.m.
a.m., you get reimbursed for breakfast. And then if you're back before
6
a
p.m.
certain time.
Yep,
you-
exactly.
And if it's a travel day, the same thing, they get 3/4.
So then if I'm gonna we'll get a draft to the board to look at, so you can always tweak it, but so then what would be the three breakdowns for cost?
15, 25, and 60.
60?
15, 25, and 60.
Okay. All right, I'll come back with that policy. That should fix that, so we don't have to run into that. We have one policy that fits everybody. Makes it more reasonable. We still have the ability to say, hey, be reasonable on it.
You good?
We still have to have receipts, right?
Yeah.
Must have
everything
it.
falls, yeah. Okay, great. All right, we'll move forward. Okay, Adam's here. Adam,
Oh,
good?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, how's
Uh,
92 coming?
played contact with the, engineer in charge, he said middle of October, getting that done. I'm skeptical because it keeps raining all the time.
Yeah.
And raining over there especially, but, middle to end of October is their plan. So, it is what it is there, so.
Yeah.
So that's that, rain have kind of slowed us down a bit, it's hard to get your ditching done when everything's all wet, so we're hauling rock and melting now, a lot of the guys are, still Mike and Dustin out spraying, spraying brush. So we're spraying everywhere, essentially north of the Iowa River, that's greater districts, 3 and 8 are getting sprayed this year, so. That's going on, I think what else we doing here, they did send out some bids for some patching, on some concrete roads. We're gonna get some quotes for that. All of our equipment's in, so we're gonna be heading towards an auction. We have a single axle, forget the brand of it, so whatever Ford's diesel truck was. We have one of those for sale on both the city of Wapello and city of, Columbus Junction have inquired about it, because it's something they could both use. I talked to Mac, the retail value is 7,500 to 10,000 is kind of what they would expect for something like that. I've reached out to both of them, said, hey, I'm gonna ask at least 8, so if you want to provide me a bid for it, and we'll just take bids on that. You know, usually I try to max out every dollar, but it's both local here, so maybe if we don't get every penny out of it, it's okay with me. So I'm just asking if that's okay with you guys.
That we get
Okay.
put for good use in
Yeah,
our county.
yeah, so that's going on there. You know, we had our training with Paul this morning. It was just great and fun, so. So, other than that, you know, if weather dries up, we got that tank car, out on 65th. That's gonna be next week. Just because of the rain, we got some guys off too, so. Other than that, I did talk to the contractor on the asphalt job, reminded them that their working days resume on, September 2nd, so. Every contract has a set amount of working days, right? That's days when it isn't raining or whatever, and if you go over those days, it's $1,000 day fine. So the contractor used 20 to 25 days in the first half of it. And as on September 2nd, the days will begin to accumulate again, so. So they're aware of that, and they said they probably won't be there the first week of September, so it's gonna be the second week, probably. We're hoping to get it done before everybody's picking corn, but you know, we can't control a contractor's time, other than days and expenses and all that.
It's raining, it's gonna be hard for that corn to dry out anyway.
Yeah, so. Other than that, I don't know anything else going on.
Well, I got a speed limit thing here in front of me.
Yep, so,
This is on, E62, the 5 mile lane.
yes.
The local people. Gonna drop it, gonna move it out a little farther from 45 miles an hour and then 35
Mhm.
miles an hour when it hits 142nd Street.
Then, once it gets in town, it'll be 25 in town, so.
You guys like that?
Yeah.
Sheriff?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a
Put
lot
a
of
speed
complaints, but you
trailer out
got,
there for a little while. and-
yeah. You got a lot of horse and buggies now, so I'm guessing this
Yeah.
is why, but
And kids and, businesses
yeah, yeah.
too, so. That was the reason for it, so.
Well, I think it's. Might be proactive with the highway coming through eventually anyway, so I'll get people used to it anyway.
I'll
Okay,
make a motion to approve resolution 202540, establishing speed limits on Route 62.
I'll second.
any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. That it? You good?
Other than that, I have had a couple people inquire about the, temporary truck driver job. I'm gonna interview one this afternoon, and I've had a couple other people reach out about it. I did touch base with Paul that I think we're 1,500 hours a year and be considered temporary or a part-time, so that's our thinking. If we can find a person probably gonna haul rock a lot, that's something that we kind of get short on. And then if we need plow driver in winter, it's always good to have one, so.
Yeah, we won't get any snow this year.
You know, I'm with all this heavy rain on that, I am a little worried. We're due for it. We haven't had, or at least last year, it wasn't bad, so. For that, I also did, I'm gonna put out an internal posting for a second in command. Our maintenance superintendent is gonna retire in April, so typically beginning fall and winter, I like to get a guy as his assistant, so he can learn and help with things, so.
Okay.
So that'll be in internal posting, I'll probably have 2 to 4 applicants. I already told them, you know, there's 19 people here and somebody's gonna be unhappy, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Good.
All right, guys.
Any update on the quarry?
Corey, no, I haven't heard anything since, I was off a couple days from last week, so I haven't. I figured end of this month, I would get an update on them to see.
Are they pumping that out and filtering that water that goes back into the creek, or do you know?
I do not know anything about it, so.
And the gentleman come in mid-meeting, did you need to speak to the board?
No.
Nope.
You know,
Fly on the wall, huh? Okay. Does anybody else want to address the board before I call adjournment? Motion for adjournment,
Make a motion to adjourn.
second.
any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting